Hello, everyone. This is the Easy Allies podcast. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us this week, Ian Hink.
Hello.
Ben Moore.
Hello.
And Brandon Jones.
Hello.
Aren't we fancy?
Hello.
If you are a listener, you should know we're at a table right now.
Yeah.
You should
crazy.
know. Mm-hmm. It's going to change our dynamic. We're really close up with each other. We're all even. We're all at eye level with each other.
It
Feels
is
nice.
11:40 p.m.
11:40 p.m. Couldn't
We
set
are
up the couch
beginning
tonight. Yep.
This stream, we played
Little-
Pokemon for 4.5 hours.
The Pokemon trading card.
the
game.
trading
We could have
card
set up
game.
the couch.
Which
Didn't
was
wanna.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
want to.
Didn't want
also,
to.
that was a lot of fun.
The trading card
Was.
game.
The Pokemon
Yeah.
game was fun.
If we want to play weekly, I'm cool with it.
I would do
Yeah.
that again.
I was thinking about maybe I should go buy some of these cards.
They're fun to buy.
Yeah.
Oh, cracking a pack.
That pack crack at the end felt real good.
Oh yeah. I was
That
like,
was-
I could get into this.
The new pack smell.
Ooh, that side dog. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun.
I'm getting in.
That
I'm
side
gonna get
card
into the
is-
Arkham horror card game.
Ian, what's your goal this week?
I want to. It's a twofold goal.
Ooh.
I want to bring up Galaxy Quest.
Whoa.
But bonus, not necessary, but bonus if I've forgotten that I've made this goal and then do it anyway. That would be a real
okay.
bonus.
Okay, all right.
Wow, sure.
What are the chances? All right, Ben, what's your goal this week?
Slim.
My goal is to say I won't stand for it in a sincere and relevant way.
Ooh, nice. I like that. Jones?
To R, one of my R's.
Oh, that's
sure.
A little
good.
pirate.
I like that one a lot.
My goal is to introduce a successful new character bit.
Wow.
Wow. That's a big goal.
Does
my
the
next
British
goal.
does the British hellos count?
Almost. I think if we developed it a little further, that'd be a
Okay.
character
Determines the
bit.
success of this bit.
Right.
I guess the comments.
Okay.
How many
okay.
lols do you
Determine
get?
everything.
You know,
All right.
how
Let us
many
know next
ha-has?
week if you achieved your goal, Kyle.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay tuned. Check back.
Let's talk about corrections. Begin corrections music, please. The Longest Journey is an incredibly popular franchise from Norwegian developers, so I should feel bad. But also, Dreamfall, The Longest Journey, and Dreamfall Chapters is definitely part of that same franchise, so we owe Jones an apology. Jones said, hey, isn't that Dreamfall?
I tried to beat Blood on Slack. We were
Yeah.
both kind of wrong. Like, I was wrong because
No.
I thought The Longest Journey was the game.
It
I
is.
thought I thought Dreamfall The Longest Journey was the game we were talking about.
Sure.
Dreamfall The Longest Journey exists.
Same franchise,
which
though.
Blood said it didn't. So
Right.
I was right in that respect.
Blood stared you in the
was
eyes and
right
said
in that
no.
I was not talking about the game we were talking about.
You were, though. It's the same franchise,
But the
Jones.
Longest Journey
Sure.
is the whole franchise. That's the series.
Longest Journey is the first one.
Yes. So that
Yeah.
is a game. And
Yes.
that's
Are
the
they
game
the
I thought we were talking about. So
Dreamfall game. What's the name of the?
you can never win
franchise?
completely with Blood. Unfortunately.
We could call it...
That is true.
Did he admit he was wrong?
No.
He admitted
no.
we were both wrong.
Yeah, that's
That was
true.
it. That's as far as he went. Well, then I guess we're both wrong. Sadly true.
PlayStation 4. Oh, the update. You can't see Twitch thumbs on the front page anymore. So that spoiler that happened to you, Jones, after the update.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, that can't happen anymore.
Fantastic.
Yep.
What does that mean?
It used to be like you would see people streaming a game when you're just hovering over the game.
And we just grab a random thumb from their stream.
Right.
Yeah.
Possibly spoiling them for you.
They
Yeah,
fixed
yeah.
that. I didn't explain that. We didn't do Games with Gold versus PlayStation Plus last week. I'm thinking of killing the segment because it gets a lot of negativity.
It seems like a hateful segment.
Yeah, so I think it's over, but we can end it 2-2. I think that even without a discussion, Games with Gold last month.
Oh, last.
Last month was probably.
Oh, okay.
This month is
I don't know anything about
Good.
it.
it's good Games with Gold month.
All right.
It's good Games with Gold month.
There it is.
PlayStation Now's Plus has been not great.
And corrections music, please. Okay, so we had a pretty big deal.
Oh, I thought you were going for it.
Oh, the new character.
I was like, oh, he's doing it already. Oh.
Let's speak of the news. It's not gonna. It's not successful.
Unsuccessful. Unsuccessful.
Yeah, no. Don't give it to him, chat.
No,
Couldn't
no.
tell if I liked it.
Bellamy Newsman. He's just like, let's speak of the news.
No, I do like it. I do like it.
Okay, it's growing up.
Yeah.
Let's give it some more legs here. Let's see.
We'll bring him back later. You
Okay,
can't stress
Bellamy.
Bellamy too soon.
Can I do the podcast halftime?
Yes,
As
Bellamy Newsman.
Bellamy Newsman.
Okay, so
Bellamy Noisman.
we got our first details on first solid details from Project Scorpio last week. I got to talk about it a little bit on the podcast last week and how excited I was that Digital Foundry would be delivering the news that Microsoft partnered with the most credible pixel counters in the biz. Jones, after it's been revealed, this is what I want to talk about first, is the specs, is what we've learned. I don't know any of these things. It's a bunch of numbers and words that make no sense to me. And instead of me trying to relay it, I just want to read it directly from Microsoft. What is in Project Scorpio, what they want to bullet point, what they want to advertise, and then maybe we can talk about those things. So I have something I'd like Jones to read. This is Microsoft's language. This is what is on the website for Project Scorpio.
Project Scorpio.
Yeah, what's in that thing?
Number 1, Scorpio engine.
Okay.
With 6 teraflops, 326 gigabytes of memory bandwidth, and advanced custom silicon. The Scorpio engine is the most powerful console gaming processor ever created. Number 2, Vapor Chamber.
Can we wait? Is it It's silicon, like Silicon Valley? Yeah.
Custom silicon?
Yeah.
Okay. 2, Vapor Chamber. A first for home consoles. Project Scorpio's Vapor Chamber uses advanced liquid cooling to ensure the Scorpio engine stays cool. 3, Centrifugal fan. A supercharger-style centrifugal fan rapidly pulls in and compresses air to deliver maximum cooling with minimum noise. Number 4, Hovis method. To maximize performance and minimize power consumption, Project Scorpio uses the Hovis method, a cutting-edge digital power delivery system that custom tunes each console's voltage.
So we can stop there. What's interesting about those 1, 2, 3s, and 4s was that it was basically pieces of the Scorpio, like, dissected. And, like, Hovis method is something you can't really dissect and point at. Like, there it is. That's the Hovis method. But those are the things.
Is that
those
an
are
abbreviation? Or is it...
It's somebody's last name.
Oh,
Hovis.
wow.
Yeah. Hovis, Jones?
Yeah.
Hovis.
And it's a really strange thing where the way it was explained, Jones, you watched this thing too, right? That all chips are different, the way that they're constructed, and so the Hovis method. Oh, you're not done yet, Jones.
Oh boy,
you got more
doing the end
specs,
there
buddy.
too?
Yeah,
Nice,
we need
nice.
those specs. It analyzes the chip to see how it kind of gooed out, and then it optimizes the chip depending on the way that your goo hardened. Is my This is why. Okay, you
That
know what?
seems about right.
Jones, just give us more specs.
True
Was that a
4K
character bit?
gaming. Yeah. True 4K gaming. 6 teraflop GPU, 2.3 gigahertz custom CPU, 1 terabyte HDD storage, 12 gigabyte GDDR5 memory. PS4 is 8.
Oh, that was my own edition because I wanted something comparison.
326 gigabytes of memory bandwidth, HDR games, and entertainment, 4K UHD Blu-ray DVD. Comparisons. Should I do that?
No, those are
Oh,
me. That's
okay.
me.
I want to read that. It looks like fun.
Oh, it is. That's
a good one.
I get the fun stuff, Jones. You did the hard
Can I see these
math.
with my eyes?
Yeah, look at those with your eyes. Are we impressed by these specs?
2.3 gigahertz custom CPU is like okay, not amazing. I feel like,
All right.
unless it's like overclocking or something.
It is going to be overclocked, so I guess it's like a modified Jaguar.
The funny thing with the GDDR5 memory must be way faster because 12 gigs is not. I mean, I guess it's good for a console.
Ian, this is what I was scared of.
What?
These are things that, it's just like, it is a list of numbers.
I mean, like my computer has 32.
Okay. Of GDR5?
I think it's DDR5. I don't know what the G means.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it's DDR5, but like,
Oh, boy.
the G must be different. I
The
don't know.
G's different.
Yeah,
the G's
That's what I'm
different.
saying. Is like it must be. I don't know. But
What's
I mean,
up,
for
Ben?
a console, 12's a lot. So.
Ben, interject. What's up?
I feel like we're out of our depth.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so I do have
The liquid cooling thing is super interesting.
it's not liquid cooling.
It's vapor.
Yeah, they say advanced liquid cooling, but it's like it's not. It's not.
Well, what is it then?
It's advanced, but it's not liquid.
Yeah, I
it
don't know.
vapor?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Vapor is kind of liquid. It's-
Okay. Yeah. Here's my comparison. Here's what Project Scorpio is.
Also, wait.
What?
Is it called Xbox Scorpio, or is it still called?
No
Because you
name
don't call
still.
something. Okay.
No
so
name
the
still.
real name doesn't exist yet.
You're right.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they're gonna come out with something really dumb like Xbox One.
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
So you got 6 waffles on a table, right? Oh my gosh, look at those 6 waffles. If you only eat 1.31 waffles, that's an Xbox One. All right. If you eat 1.84 waffles, that's a PlayStation 4. You get a little more waffle. You get like half a waffle extra. It's pretty nice. If you eat 4.2 waffles, that's a PS4 Pro.
Oh,
Oh my god, that's like double the waffles, even more so. If you eat all 6 waffles, that's Project Scorpio.
Are you basing this just on the teraflops?
Yeah. That's all I have. It's really all I have.
But I mean,
So
I'd rather have a toaster strudel, to be honest.
Yeah, if you eat 6 waffles, you're gonna feel like garbage.
yeah. But yeah, it's kind of all I got. What's up, Ben?
I mean, we've kind of talked about this before, but I feel like the analogy that I'm going to use here is that you're at a racetrack and you're watching these cars go around the track.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a guy who comes up to you and says, I've got a car that runs better than any of these. But he's just telling you. He's just saying it is going to be way faster than all of this.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, let's see it. Let's see what it can do. And that's the thing is, on paper, this sounds impressive. This sounds like something I want to see. You've got my attention, but now you need to put your money where your mouth is. And by that, I mean I need to see games.
Yes.
You can have the most powerful console, but if it doesn't have stuff I want to play, all of this is just completely irrelevant.
You need
to
to see the car on the track, and then it goes slightly faster, and then you go, huh.
Maybe, but I mean, like it's all about messaging, right? It's all about tone. If they have an E3 presentation where I walk out of that thing and I go, I want to play whatever the things that Microsoft is putting out, I'm gonna have a much different feeling about the Scorpio.
So it is okay. Let's just mention it. Within the presentation, we got one screenshot of one game, which was Forza 5, not Horizon, the game from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Screenshot that says, "Hey, it's running at 60 frames per second." And I mean, to their credit, Digital Foundry watched it and said, "Yeah, it does."
Yeah.
That was a smart move, by the way.
Yeah.
Partnering with a trusted source.
Should we skip to that?
online.
Should we skip to this discussion? Absolutely.
Oh, I thought we were skipping it entirely
No,
because we didn't talk about it when you.
I
mentioned
do want to
Yeah.
talk about this screenshot though.
Yeah.
yeah. Let's talk about the screenshot, then we'll talk about Digital
We don't
Foundry.
need to jump ahead. I didn't know
yeah.
we had a segment.
We'll get there.
Okay.
What's up with that screenshot, Ben?
Well, you're talking about these specs, and I like Forza, but showing a screenshot of Forza, the most expected thing that you could possibly show, I feel like I get that the big announcements are coming. I get that they're not going to tip their entire hand just yet, but I feel like there's a better path to go here than showing a screenshot of Forza and having them say that it runs at 60 frames.
I should say the full thing. It's 4K 60 frames.
Sure.
So I should say, to the credit of that screenshot, and even in the analysis from Digital Foundry, mostly hosted and written by Richard Ledbetter, said, look, there's parts of this that we can see in the screenshot even that could be improved. But, it's very impressive. It's 4K, 60 frames per second. We saw it. It's real. You get a screenshot. Here it is.
The word "true" bothers me.
What do you mean?
In there.
Yeah.
Oh, true 4K.
True 4K. I'm like the PS4 Pro is also 4K. Like what
It's
is,
false 4K.
well, yeah. Like what does that true mean?
That 4K is lying to you.
Yeah, I think they said it a long time ago before the PS4 was pulling off 4K when they were like, we got true. We know you're doing checkerboard over there. And then there are games that run true 4K as well on PS4 Pro. But yeah. It's...
Checkerboard is like some kind of downsampling thing.
Don't make me get
Anti-aliasing,
technical.
you're saying? I don't
No,
know.
it's
Checkerboard
basically...
just sounded like you knew what you're talking about, so I was like, oh.
It's a
I
thing.
don't know
It's
what he's talking
it's 4K kind of. It's like, I think...
Yeah, it's like...
The way I think of it as... you know what? No analogy is necessary.
Yeah.
Just imagine a checkerboard, which is all
Yeah.
half white squares,
I
half
got
black
it.
squares.
Yeah.
And so what I think is it just like represents 50% of the
then
image. And
Ron rides on the big one as it goes down over there, and then smashes the other one. But Harry's not on it, so it's okay.
oh, it's a little Harry Potter reference?
Yeah.
All right. Ron Weasley.
Yeah.
Okay, but honestly, I'd love to talk about Digital Foundry and what they did here and their covering of it and Microsoft's decision to have them do it. Jones, what do you think of the presentation? What do you think of Microsoft handling it this way?
I thought it was more. I don't know if it was my expectations going into it, but it upset me less than that PlayStation 4 Pro initial announcement.
Right.
Which felt weird. It felt like, and again, I don't know if that's just my perception of what it was going to be, and then maybe understanding. Oh, okay, that's what Sony did going into that with Microsoft. That like it seemed okay for them to just come up and literally just talk numbers and just like lay out the specs, and that was good enough. because we had the question beforehand, it was like, oh, should we do reactions to this? Like, this is a big event. They could be talking about things. And it's like, no, that was a type of event that we would not do reactions for.
If you missed that event, let's describe what happened.
Yeah, what was this?
So I think Mark Cerny was the first one out speaking, at least. He was there, talking about what the PS4 Pro would be.
I thought you meant I was like, he was at the Xbox thing?
Yeah, we should talk about the Xbox one as well. The only new game footage, I believe.
Spider-Man. They showed some good stuff from Spider-Man, I think.
No, they didn't.
It wasn't new.
Get out of here, Jones. Yeah, I wish they showed new Spider-Man stuff. Was Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh,
that was
right.
the big end reveal.
Right.
It was, hey, look at how Mass Effect Andromeda looks like on a PlayStation 4 Pro. And so that was for the PlayStation 4 Pro. The event was seen largely as a flop because it was a big press conference and it was just to advertise one of these marginally better in-between consoles. Go ahead.
I think if you're comparing it directly to the PS4 Pro presentation, this makes a lot of sense on Microsoft's part, and I think they should be commended for this being a smart decision.
Yeah.
Because when you just have a company get out there, if Microsoft just said, we're doing a presentation that's focusing on specs, if they just did that, I don't think there would be an understanding amongst the audience that is interested what that means. How much detail are they going into? What are they going to tell us? What are they not going to tell us? When you say, this is Digital Foundry, we're partnering with Digital Foundry, people know what that coverage is like from Digital Foundry. They have a framing device there. And so I think that partnership made it very explicitly clear what this was, and it didn't raise expectations up too much so it would blow back in their face. And I think that's very smart.
Yeah. I want to, again, we should say what they actually showed. And so it was just on camera. It was Richard Ledbetter looking at camera, talking about the time, the conversations he had, these specs in particular. There were some new things that are strange, dramatic CG representations of the circuitry glowing green and blue, and it looks really cool. Those were new. Those were brand new, made for this reveal. Jones, what do you think about the production of that?
I mean, even that, like I was saying, like that was like the Sony thing felt like a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
It felt like you could have thrown this together in very, very little time. Where I know that doesn't necessarily inform me a lot on like specifically how the Xbox runs. Like I'm not just like a wealth of knowledge now, after seeing this to just like I can totally compare these two things. Mm-hmm. But it does help me get excited because it does help.
Because this person's excited.
It does, yeah. Because I think at the end of the day, when there's somebody like me that can't add all these numbers all up and can't draw these direct comparisons, I can't make charts, and I don't know like who's definitively going to win. All I can tell at the end of these things is what this means for that company, like where this company is coming from when trying to sell me this. And I didn't know where Cerny was coming from here. I was like, this is weird. I don't know, because it was kind of like Sony really wanted to play both sides. They were like, we want this to be extremely important to you if it's in your budget. If it's not, don't worry about it. It's fine. And it seems like Microsoft's like, no, this thing is extremely cool. We look at this thing and just drool all over ourselves because we're so excited about how powerful this is. So if that is your message, which it seems to be, yes, make, throw a little production value in there and just kind of show off like how excited you are about each individual component, break the whole thing out and talk about each thing individually. And I thought their production did that very well.
Was there the impression, I don't want this to sound like shady or whatever, but like, was there the impression that they feel as though the Xbox One has underperformed, and whereas PlayStation 4 did pretty well, so they're like, yeah, hey, if you want the Pro, get it. If you don't, like, that's fine, whatever. Here it seems like, hey, the Xbox One sucked. Buy this thing, it's great. Is that kind of what it feels like, or?
No, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like, it's funny, he explicitly states, Ledbetter, he goes, Microsoft did not like to have the performance throne taken away from them. And what's funny is he just spent a week talking to these people. That's practically a direct quote.
Right.
That Microsoft really did feel burned that they did not have the most powerful console. And the impression you do get is that they put a lot of passion behind this thing. They don't throw the other one, the Xbox One, under the bus. They don't say it sucks, but they do say we worked really hard on this. And I think that's what comes across the most in that presentation. And even the articles written along with it.
But Ledbetter wasn't solely positive, though. He said, like...
He was extremely positive.
Okay, but you said in that screenshot he said
Yeah.
that there were things that could be improved.
You're right. Yeah. Wasn't
Well,
solely
to
positive.
me that's good. That
Yeah.
makes it seem more legitimate, and then you can say, "Oh, this is an actual critique, and that means that these numbers sounding so solid are really good."
Yeah, I would say there's very little critique though.
Oh, okay.
There could be more, but Digital Foundry is enthused by these kinds of things. I think we got to, give them that one. And
Yeah.
if they want to be very positive about this thing, please do. Here's my takeaway though, is I think that this is not a next generation console. I think that a lot of people still believed it would be. A lot of people actually expected it to have bigger numbers than the ones we just read off, different chips and everything. No Jaguars. I don't know, guys. But anyway, it's not next gen. It's not the next thing. It is
Next gen is
Right.
in like PS5.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
It is. It's 6 waffles as opposed to 4 point something. You know what I mean? It's there.
Yeah.
It's that.
But it is the most, or supposedly the most powerful console anyone
Yeah.
has ever built.
right. And so I want
That's
to talk.
that's a fun headline.
I want to see
have.
though with the panel, like Jones. What are the legs on this? When do we start the next generation? Is what I mean. Like, do you think that this will play all the games that the next Xbox will? Is it that kind of thing, or is this really just an Xbox One in betweener?
I have to think that there is that next big console that they want to make. So I do think we got 3, 4, maybe 5 years with this thing, but at least 3 or 4.
3 more years with Project Scorpio.
I believe so. Yeah.
I think that's crazy, man.
How long ago did PlayStation 4 come out?
2013.
So we had 4 years before
We had 3.
before Pro came out.
Yeah.
Because 2016, right?
I don't necessarily buy that there's going to be a next big box in the way that we've come to expect it.
Sure.
I mean, but if you go back to the PS3 and 360 days, there were analysts saying the same thing, that these would be
Right.
the last consoles.
Yes.
So that narrative has been spun before, but I do think it is important to keep in mind that those 6 waffles, we've actually never seen something quite like this, and I do think that signals a change.
What
with
change
how
do
we-
you see?
With how we approach hardware, and I think what the audience expects, where this is with the way that technology is going, those big leaps, right? They're just naturally going to get smaller. We've already seen it. We've been seeing it for a very long time now. And so I think we may not make those big leaps because they're not just going to be there to make. And so those small steps, that 4K jump, those extra teraflops, that might just be where we're at now, as opposed to, polygonal graphics or high definition. And so I just...
Voices in video games.
Right.
Those leaps
face
were huge.
animation.
Right.
Yeah.
When you signal the next generation, I mean, that's something that Microsoft struggled with, right? Because their vision of the next generation was an all-encompassing thing.
Yeah.
That didn't pan out. And so when you say next generation, what does that even mean anymore?
I think, to me, like, I agree completely. And, like, I agree with what you said before about the games being the thing. Because what'll be telling is if at E3 they say, here's the Scorpio, and here's a bunch of, like, amazing games that you're going to want to play on the Scorpio that you can also play on your PC if you have one, but if you don't, the Scorpio is powerful enough, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's fine. And I think that that's going to be hugely important. And if they don't have those games, it's just going to flop again.
So, Ian, at the end of this article, it hints that they're ahead of schedule, but also that they are pumped for E3. That
Right.
they are putting a lot of
Everybody
effort
always
into
says
E3.
As
that.
opposed to previous years.
Nintendo knows, and they're like, you know what, we're just going to
Right.
use Zelda's
Yeah,
here.
Nintendo's like, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, but apparently Microsoft is working really hard on blowing us away for E3 this
Well, I
year.
mean, they have to. They have to. Because, like, PlayStation's
That's
been
another thing
crushing
we
it.
say every year, though.
Right. Well, yeah.
They don't have to.
They do, though. Like, I don't know. But also, like, I think the next gen, and I've said this before, but the next gen, to me, will be a jump where, like, let's say 2 years from now, somebody invents a quantum computer that's affordable. And then it's like, whoa, hey, we can do AI that's, like, crazy and can do all kinds of stuff at the same time. And then it's so affordable that the PlayStation 5, Xbox 2, whatever, can do quantum computing to some extent, probably in a lesser degree. But then, like, GTA 6 can simulate 80,000 individual people with like who have daily lives and routines, and it's like insane AI.
Right. This
That's
won't, and
the
this
jump.
won't work on your old console.
And it like
We couldn't-
literally won't, like we can't just iterate up because it's a completely different infrastructure.
Yeah.
That's the next jump I think that we need, because like AI is where it is. It's not graphics anymore. It's not really that kind of stuff. Like we can iterate up to 8K, whatever, like, but really cool processing power to simulate reality and like nature patterns and stuff like that is what's, and like AI is what's going to be the thing.
What's interesting is they didn't talk much about VR at all. When VR was, I think, a huge part of the pitch at last year's E3 when Project Scorpio was brought up. Is that done? Is VR the as in like a this is the next thing that we need to advertise for? Is that all? Is that already like come and gone? Or are they having a hard time locking down a VR deal for Project Scorpio?
Yeah, I just think Microsoft has played that Me Too game with fun new tech and lost before.
Yeah.
So they're just like,
Every
we're not even
time.
gonna- let's just not even try.
They
You
did
know?
really well with Kinect.
It's like
Until
yeah,
they
but
did.
it's like
Until they
if it's not dead, what are we really winning there? Like, how big could that win be? And if it is dead, boy, are we gonna lose? Boy, is that gonna hurt our bottom line if we invest heavily in that tech. And
What would be
nobody
interesting
cares,
to me
they're
is
not
if
buying.
they partnered with Vive or something. Like something crazy like that, where they're just like, hey, the Scorpio can run the Vive. That's cool.
Yeah.
Everyone would be like, whoa.
I think that's what they're trying. I think they want
Yeah.
that Oculus or that Vive. I don't think they intend to make a headset on their own.
Yeah. Oh, no, they should not. They should not.
Just want to let anybody know who is like, hey, how come they're not talking about like the name? How come they're not talking about like release date and stuff? Like, we'll do that closer to E3.
Yeah.
We'll do that stuff. We'll get there.
I don't think we'll be able to predict what they're going to name this thing.
We can't.
They're going to name it something so bonkers that none of us are going to be able to
None
be
of
like,
us even guessed PS4 Pro. And that's so simple.
Yeah. Pro is like
I don't think
pretty
it's going to be a
clear.
bonkers name.
Sorry?
I don't think it's going to be a bonkers name. I don't think it's going to be, not that Vita is bonkers, but I don't think
All
it's
right,
gonna
well,
be along
this
those
might be
lines.
relevant to the
I don't think
conversation.
it'll be interesting.
Because I wonder if it is a big leap. I wonder if it is a generational leap. I guess this is worth discussing. Is Xbox One going to be part of its name? Do we believe that this is its own entity as a video game console?
They're going to call it the Xbox One, but spell it WON.
I like that confidence.
Thinking about it, it really puts them in a tricky spot, because if they incorporate the Xbox One name, I think that sends a confusing message.
Right.
Not in the same way, but in similar lines to the Wii U and the Wii. But if they call it something completely new, I think that might, for people who aren't in the know, raise expectations that this thing, it might seem like a lie for what this thing actually is.
Right.
Yes.
So,
Right.
what is the right answer?
Because if they call it Xbox 2 or Xbox 1080 or what, like
It's not
that's-
enough. It's
that's
not enough
a
to be
new.
the- yeah.
They're calling it a new console, but then it's confusing because it still runs Xbox One games.
Yeah.
And the Xbox One can still play everything on this.
Yeah.
Which everybody hates because it's like, oh, you're doing PS3 backwards compatibility. Like, ugh, this game is compromised. Like, yeah.
By everybody hates, you mean Michael Huber.
Michael Huber.
Who coined the phrase compromised.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johns, where do you sit on this? Where do you sit on this? Is it a whole new thing, or is this an Xbox One blank?
It's weird. It's like we're almost at a point now with new gens where I don't think a new generation is built on what this new console can do. I think the next generation is built on what the old console can't.
Right.
That, like, I look at something like the Switch, and that is so profound for me because the 3DS is going away.
Sure.
Forever. Like, we'll like a lot of, you can say that the Switch is the sequel to the 3DS. I think it's more the sequel to the Wii U, and it's replacing the 3DS. And like, that's profound to me that this, like the Game Boy, this thing that evolved over time, is they're kind of like, okay, yeah, it inspired, the decisions that we made with the Switch.
Yeah.
So that's crazy for me looking back and seeing all of these types of game, all these publishers that are like, whoa, what are we going to do next year? And having them totally rethink their business strategy. Like, that's a new gen. Like, that is a monumental shift in their business practices.
Yeah.
Or again, if they're just incrementally increasing the hardware, it just doesn't feel like a gen shift in the classic sense.
We can all agree Xbox is in this thing's name, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope it's the Xbox One Extreme.
Because it'll be the Xbox press briefing. They don't have it's not called the Microsoft
Right.
whatever. It's always the Xbox briefing.
Sure.
Xbox Wonder.
Xbox Wonder.
I kind of like
I
it.
really like that too.
I really like that. It serves both purposes.
It's actually not bad.
all right. That's really nice.
Lock that bet in.
And you have that opening presentation where
Yeah.
the lights dim and they go, wonder
Yeah.
about the teraflops. Wonder about the Master Chief.
Wonder about the Master Chief. Actually, you know what? Price is an interesting thing to talk about because if you look at what this is, it'll probably be pretty expensive.
What's a Pro right now?
Pro is
400?
$400 right now.
It'll be 400.
It'll probably be $400. It might be $450. It might be $500. But again, it's not at that range of this is the new box. This is the new generation. It is of that upper range.
If they go over 400, I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, and they might. I think they might have to take a hit to go to 400. It's interesting. It's really, really interesting. We'll get more answers. It's hard to talk about now, especially
I
because
would ever do like 425.
I would love 425.
It's always like a $50 increment.
Just make it
Just go
425.
$419.99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are your 2 waffles, $25.
We had a special surprise before we started recording. The Star Wars Battlefront 2 trailer was leaked. Thank
Yeah.
you. I hate making that mistake. I've been there. It sucks to do. But we're all happy that we got to watch it before we got to record this podcast.
That is convenient, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not excited that the people who worked hard on that game did not get it to announce their own game,
Mm-hmm.
but excited to get the news. Thanks.
And boy, what a trailer. This is the kind of trailer I get excited about. I'm curious where the
Cool
panel
trailer.
stands with this thing.
I mean, you get goosebumps immediately with this guy. I mean, it's Star Wars. I don't know.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Sure it is.
I've seen plenty of Star Wars things that don't give me goosebumps.
Oh, well, I get goosebumps with all of it. Because, I don't know, my expectations are like Star Wars.
So you see
It's
Lego
fine.
Star Wars and you're like, ooh, I got those goosebumps.
If they play the theme song, sure.
Sure.
I think it was an exciting trailer with just the right amount of tease.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. What do we see? What do we see in this thing?
Yoder.
We all look over at Jones. Jones, what do we see in this?
This is crazy for
Trailer
me because I was in, I don't know if it was this morning or something. I think it might have been this morning because we knew like, oh, it's going to be happening this week. So chat was like, what do you want out of Battlefront 2? And the biggest thing for me was like, oh, I mean, just the prequels and, the Rebels and Clone Wars and, like, I want even the Ewoks from the TV show. I want everything. I want, like, clearly if it's called Star Wars Battlefront, it should be a celebration of everything.
Yeah.
Like, I want Knights of the Old Republic. I want, it's like, I want you to cram as many different crazy characters. It should be a mashup. I should be like, wow, that's crazy. You can make those two characters fight.
Yeah.
It's the number one thing.
Okay.
30 seconds later, this trailer, I'm like, yes.
Why? What'd you
they did
see?
it.
What happened?
I see Darth Maul facing off against Yoda.
Cool way to reveal it, too.
Yes.
The lightsaber just into a green hand,
I see,
and like
I see
immediately
Rey
you're like,
running
Yoda!
through the forests of Endor. I see shaking this up, and I think what will be interesting is they're also putting in a campaign apparently, which is a huge complaint for the first
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
And so it'll be really interesting to see those two things. This very serious story that follows a very specific point in the Star Wars timeline, and then once you get into multiplayer, all bets are off. Just whatever.
That's what I think. I think when we saw Darth Maul face off against Yoda, I think that has nothing to do with the campaign.
Yeah.
That kicks off this trailer.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty cool to show both those aspects within this reveal trailer.
Showed a couple of crazy ships, like showed a scimitar-looking thing. It kind of looked like Darth Maul's ship from the prequels.
Oh, Jones,
That opens it up.
I was on
It's
the
going through
Star Wars
hyperspace, and so-
subreddit before we started the stream, and they know all those ships.
Yeah.
And they're super pumped on them. A bunch of them are for like Clone Wars.
The one going through the like hyperspace thing, I was like, I recognize that. I think I have that from X-Wing miniatures.
Nice. I don't
can't
know what
remember what it's
CIS
called.
means, but they're really excited that there are CIS ships in there.
Okay.
And so yeah, there's lots of prequel ships. There's things from post the last movie we saw.
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
No, even before that. Help me out with
Force
this.
Awakens?
Episode
The Force Awakens. Yeah, they're post episode 7. They're pumped of that. Some of those ships.
Pre-order for Last Jedi characters. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And it does end with
I'm
pre-order
happy
now
to see that, but-
to get a little bonus skins. Characters even, not even skins. What are you looking up? What's
I'm
going
looking
on?
up CIS. It's bothering me. I don't know
Okay,
what that
yeah,
means.
yeah. Look it up.
Confederacy of Independent Systems.
Oh, so is that like the trade ships
Trade
and all that?
Federation,
Yeah,
maybe?
something like that.
Separatist Council.
Bent.
Yeah, that's a prequel love right there.
Yeah, Dooku. yeah, Grievous, Darth Sidious.
Some
yeah.
Dooku
Nobody
stuff.
said separatist in the original trilogy.
Yeah, that's the.
Can you possibly feel any enthusiasm for the Battlefront franchise, which burned so many 2 years ago?
Kyle, it's hard, and I feel like there are always a couple of these games every year where I played Battlefield. I bought it at launch, and I really enjoyed it very intensely for an extremely short period of time, where it was a bright candle that burned so quickly, and it felt very, very, very thin and very shallow, and I wanted to love it much more and for much longer than I did. And so I'm going in with that expectation, and so I like. The flash is nice, the excitement is nice, the teases are nice, but I was already sold that song and dance with the first Battlefront.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of in the position, I feel like I'm being the pessimist here, where it's like, okay, that's nice, give me the details, let me get my hands on it, let me really see if this isn't just going to be one all over again.
Ben, thank you for being grounded, because I'm off the walls excited about this right
It's an exciting trailer. It is an exciting trailer, yeah.
I just think back to the Star Wars: The Old Republic, that CG trailer with the little girl that was like given up by the mom and like turned into a Sith Lord. In that
I don't
trailer.
remember that
And then
one. Is that one of the deeper
Twin Brothers.
CG trailers they had?
Well, that was the last
Twin
expansion
Brothers
that they
one.
had.
Okay,
the Twin
yeah,
Brothers
yeah.
was awesome.
But one of them
yeah.
had like a little girl that was like training, and then they're like, the mom is like, oh, she's got force powers, and then like that spooky dude shows up and takes her. Whatever.
Yeah, vaguely I remember.
Amazing trailer.
Yeah.
And then you remember that it's for
Right.
an MMO that, I mean, personally is not my cup of tea.
That one. Yeah.
You know? And so it's like, yeah, it's easy to make a really awesome jazzy CG Star Wars trailer, because Star Wars looks and sounds really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the impact of seeing a soldier who works for the Empire watch a Death Star blow up in the sky above her, that has an impact that wouldn't be if it was just, a spaceship blew up above this person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like a space station, there it is. Oh, my space station blew up. But watching a Death Star blow up and
Death
realizing
Stars only blow up like 4 or 5 times.
I like to think of like Vader's road trip after Episode 4. Because what do you do? Because like last time you see Vader in Episode 4, he's just flying out into space, and then he kind of like balances his ship, and it's like, oh crap! Like what do you do? He's just kind of like flies a little interceptor like around, like like random crew like picks him up or something, or somebody.
Guaranteed
he have a lone ship.
He goes to his emo palace from Rogue One.
Yeah, he went to
yeah.
his castle for
Yeah.
sure.
But it's still that trip to the it's just him alone in space.
Yeah.
He's
like, man, I really have to pee.
Yeah. Oh, crap. Oh, crap.
It's like Bloodworth is Vader.
So yeah, you're stuck on Endor. What do you do? Oh,
Did y'all hear that?
Oh.
Sounds like it's podcast halftime.
How does it go, Kyle? What is it? Give me the.
Oh, God.
Give me the character.
Oh, God.
Oh, don't you remember? Is it time for the news?
What was his name?
Following are the official
Bellamy
sponsors of
Amusement.
Easy Allies for the month of April. Michael Kozachenko, who you can follow at Misha Koz. Richard Smuts, who you can follow at Phyrexis. Mango. iKeyless. Need a new car key or remote? iKeyless.com has been in the key replacement business since 2002. Check them out today, and they can help save you up to 75% off of the dealership's prices. If you type in offer code EASY-A at checkout, you'll get 15% off of your order. Hoog Law, business law firm. Whether you're starting a business at level 1, stuck fighting the dreaded fundraising boss, or finally cashing out with a well-earned high score, you need a good business lawyer at your side. At Hoog Law, they're not just attorneys, they're entrepreneurs with more than a decade of experience representing software, hardware, and game developers, and were developers themselves. They're proud to support the Allies, so check them out at www.hooglaw.com. Scorn! An atmospheric horror adventure developed by M Software set in a nightmarish universe of odd forms and somber tapestry. Go to scorn-game.com for more information. Sweet Justice! A sound design company from England that focuses on audio for game cinematics and trailers. They're also heavily involved in sound design and sound implementation for games. They've worked on Battlefield, Mirror's Edge, Call of Duty, and a load of indies. You can see and hear their work at www.sweetjustice.audio. All of these links are available in the description. Thank you to our sponsors.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I really hope they know that we're having a great time and not like that. We are very taking this seriously.
Yes, of course.
I love it.
Oh, right. Thank you to our sponsors.
No, for
Yeah.
real.
Well, you have to wonder, actually. It's like, what's the better way to do it? For me to
Right.
read it the same way I always do? Or
No,
for us
yeah,
to, in this
yeah,
one
yeah.
podcast,
I think
I
give
just
a
hope
great
they
special
see it in
thank
that
you?
light because
Yeah.
that's how we're doing it.
Yeah.
That's how we mean it.
That's the light.
I do think you killed Bellamy Newsman, though. He's dead.
Oh.
He died.
I loved him. It reminded me of Last Crusade when he goes, "This is a castle, and we have many tapestries."
We quote that every week, don't we?
Yeah, we might.
The Last Crusade.
Can't believe what you did.
We had a little Dragon Quest XI event. That
Yeah,
happened
we did.
last night, which I should just say is Monday night, right? Mm-hmm. Yes.
What day
in
is
our time.
this?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
my
so
God.
weird.
With technically
Well, it's
Wednesday.
Wednesday
We're
now.
not technically
no
Wednesday.
longer
It's
well into
Tuesday.
Wednesday.
We're well into Wednesday. I'm well into Wednesday. I want to cover it briefly. Here's the thing. Dragon Quest XI looks like a really cool, unique, beautiful game. Gorgeous, interesting, characters, art, RPG. So interesting. But there's a couple of things that were absent from this. So we learned that it is coming July 29th in Japan. US release date, not mentioned. Not relevant. Anywhere else other than Japan, to be honest with you. No release date at all. Also, no Switch information. It's in development, but we can't show you. We don't know when it's coming. We have no idea. We don't want to talk about it.
But they did say that it's happening.
It's still happening. So I want, very quickly, this will be our coverage of that event. Panel, which is more disappointing? No worldwide release date, no Switch information. Ian.
I'd like to know a worldwide release date.
Sure.
At least to have them say, like, it'll be coming out a few months later because we need to localize it. Or, like, it's going to be a year later.
Probably gonna
so
be a
that
year
we can be,
later.
like, really depressed about it.
Yeah.
The Switch thing is like, yeah, it's a new console. They maybe weren't developing on it as early as everything else, so that makes sense.
Cool. Ben.
On a personal level, I would want a worldwide release date. I didn't expect it at a Japanese event, specifically for Dragon Quest. But I want to know how the Switch version is going to look. I'm more curious about that.
Yeah.
And so on that level, I guess, I'm disappointed because being able to take the idea of being able to take a game like that on the go is very, very appealing, but I don't want a worse version of it.
Yeah.
Right? No, but
And
why would I do that?
And I think there's still some fears. Like, is it going to be the 3DS version?
Right.
There's still some fear in my heart
Right.
that that's what the Switch version is, and they won't confirm it's one or the other.
Right, and there are a lot of reasons for this. This is certainly not a one-to-one comparison, right? Because you could say rushed for the launch of the system, but what we have, the Dragon Quest we have on the Switch right now, runs like hot garbage.
Dragon Quest Heroes.
Yes, 1 and 2.
Okay.
And you know,
It's on the Switch?
yeah, it's on the Switch in Japan
Oh.
right now.
But you can download the demo.
You can download the
If you
demo.
have-
Apparently, the demo runs much worse than the actual game itself, but still not ideal.
Still hot garbage.
Right. And so there are still there's comparisons. The comparison doesn't completely line up, but I'm saying it sets a worrying precedent. Yeah.
Jones.
And this is the MMO, right?
Which is more... No, Jones, come on, man. 10 is the MMO.
All right.
Don't you know your
God,
Dragon
it's
Quest?
12:30 at night, and I'm gotta catch up with the franchise I've never played any game of. And the,
What's more disappointing, Jones? The worldwide release date or the no Switch info?
worldwide release.
Correct answer.
No clarification.
Is this a new character bit? Just
was-
get to the point, Jones.
You're like doing the guy from
That was
Network.
true tired exasperation.
I know.
I'm
mad as hell.
Just so sincere. What do you want from me?
I shouldn't have asked.
All right. He's gonna sneak in your goal there.
Yeah.
We got to get out of here before
No.
somebody kills Guy.
Just so we know, we got time left in this podcast, Jones. You said, I'm going to use one of my R's as an R. You just put the word R in the middle of a sentence that
Yeah.
wouldn't normally have that.
It's true.
yeah.
So I didn't do it. I'll take
We
the
still
loss.
got time. No, we still got time. There's
All right.
still a lot of time left in this podcast.
Do it
Okay.
more than once.
In fact, what? What's wrong?
I know you just wanted to ask the question: is it which is more disappointing?
Yeah.
But I because we have this opportunity, I do think there are some things that are worth saying about Dragon Quest XI.
Okay. We got this opportunity.
Particularly with what's been going on within games right now. So what I want to talk about is I want to compare it to Yakuza, to Persona, to Nier specifically, because I think these are all games that a lot of people didn't know about until right now, and they're all getting a lot of attention, they're all doing well.
Yeah.
And so I think you're kind of seeing a resurgence of a type of game that many thought was dead. I think even the reaction to Dragon Quest Builders exceeded expectations. And so I think a lot of people who aren't familiar with Dragon Quest are saying, why does this matter? Why should I care? I think it's something, much like you saw with those other games that I mentioned, that through word of mouth and through coverage, I really do think that potentially Dragon Quest XI could be a real significant breakthrough in the West at this time, absolutely, in a way that it wasn't before. I think the 2 versions will also help tremendously with that. That covers a lot of ground that Dragon Quest has not been able to cover before in the West. And so I think, like, just purely from a sales perspective, from a game value perspective, I think this Dragon Quest matters a lot more than the other Dragon Quest games have had at the time of release. And I think that's an important thing to think about.
Ben, that's why I'm surprised that there isn't any mention of the international release. I do get that it's a very Japanese franchise, and Japan loves Dragon Quest. I totally get that. But I do see Square Enix as a huge international publisher these days. And so, go ahead.
Yeah, but think about it this way, right? That presentation that they did last night was a very Japanese presentation that only the most adamant Dragon Quest fans are already going to be watching. If they are taking it seriously and they do recognize that opportunity, wouldn't they want to present it in a way that would get a lot more natural eyes on it and make it seem like a bigger deal?
So, it's happening at E3. When you say we got this release date, here's when Dragon Quest is happening, you wouldn't do it at that event.
You wouldn't do it at that event. It wouldn't make sense. I don't think it would have the impact that you would want it to.
It'll be bigger news at E3 for sure.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense to
Or
me.
even its own event.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's... I mean, we don't have to go into this, but I wonder if there is like a cultural reason that these games are having a stronger foothold in the West right now.
No, they're just good.
They're just good games. They're just good. They're just good.
Just sick good games. No, you're right though, Ian.
Some shift in the consciousness or something. I don't know.
Because I feel like Persona 5 has a way better shot at success than Persona 4 had.
Yeah.
And you're right. They're similar games. I do wonder what changed.
I wonder.
But
Frat boys watch SpongeBob.
I mean,
Stand by that theory.
I wonder, and it's just like, what do you think about Persona 4? That came out in 2008 on the PS2. Okay,
Right.
People were playing their PS3s at that time. Their Xbox
not great
360s.
timing. Sure.
Right. Yakuza 3 came out later on, well after the Japanese release. Like these games are just coming out on systems that people actually have and are getting good reviews.
Yeah.
Or are systems that are more relevant. And
Current systems.
Current systems, yeah.
Well, and Nier
That's a big
Automata
deal.
got a lot more coverage. Like, I'd never heard of Nier 1 until I heard of Nier.
Well,
Automata.
Nier is kind of a perfect storm because you sort of had this very strong, very feverish cult following that started with Dragon Guard and then just kind of reached this fever pitch with Nier. And then to send it over the top, you've got this collaboration with Platinum Games.
Right.
Fusing those two things together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Automata, I just started it.
Yeah.
That's like hopping in. Yes.
Yes.
Dude,
This
yeah.
feels
The
like
first-
a good
Yes.
video game.
Yes.
The first thing,
Yes.
like, oh, man.
Thank you, Platinum. That's the extra touch. Because I did play a bunch of Nier and we're like, it stopped. And this is the difference. It's like, that's the Platinum
This
touch.
feels way better.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the honey is that it feels good right away.
Yeah.
And that's what gets you in. That's what that's where you're like, okay, I'm willing to spend time with you.
Yeah.
But then what settles is it's not just that feel good moment. It's you got this great story that's just gonna be churning in your mind well after you finish. Oh yeah.
Man, I gotta finish. How long does it take to
1-2
finish
punch.
that game?
If you do the 5 main innings as you should, I would say around 45 hours.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah.
That's how long it took me, I should
So
say.
for me, like 3,000.
yeah.
No.
3,000
No,
hours.
no.
You're better at video games than I am. It's fine.
I'm ready. I'm
No,
ready
but I
for
was
it.
poking around. I was
I haven't even finished the Dark
messing around with
Souls
stuff.
DLC yet. I've been playing too much goddamn Zelda. I love
Plenty.
that Zelda, though.
You'll like it.
Y'all ready for some more
good video
honey?
game.
Zelda.
It's time for love and respect.
Ooh.
Love and respect. Oh my goodness, that was some good harmony. That was some honey.
Oh, you guys just put me in a good mood. People are liking near. Brandon was telling me he's playing Persona 5. He likes it. People playing these games.
Yeah.
It's so good.
You did it.
There's some
I
honey on
had
the table
nothing to do with
tonight.
it. I really didn't.
This one I want to do real quick, just get this out of the way, but I feel like it's something worth addressing. Hi, allies. Kyle, with all these love and respect questions.
They want to see your face. The people like your
They
beautiful face.
want to hear me. They
They
want to hear me.
Beautiful face.
But if I have it over here, I have to change how I sound. I'll try
What
my
if
best.
I hold it like this right here?
Thank you. Hi, allies. Kyle, with all these LNR questions, how on earth do you find the right LNR questions to answer for the podcast LNR, Abraham? Okay, so I don't always get the right questions. Here's what I do. This time there were 99 questions when I started pulling them. I pull basically 10 to 20, and these are the ones that I print here. So I read through them all, and I pull things that I think could be pretty good. And then, based off where we are in the podcast, how much time we got left, I try to pull ones based off the panel we got and our vibes.
So would you
That's
say?
when I try to pull from there.
Would you say that when these 99 questions
our
appear on the wall,
Yeah.
these 99 questions that appear, you take some down, and then you pass them around,
And then there's 98 questions.
and then there are
on the wall.
98 questions that have appeared on the wall.
I was praying it was going to be some Galaxy Quest thing. I was praying.
Kyle,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you pick questions, so I don't want to
Yeah.
don't want to overstep my boundaries. But something
Yeah.
that I think might help our love and respect listeners.
Whoa.
Okay, so when I was applying for jobs, trying to get into the video game industry, I would have people tell me all the time, you gotta make it snappy. You gotta have those good subjects for your emails. And I was like,
Yes.
yeah, but I'm writing this stuff, and if you actually just read the whole thing, there's so much goodness in there.
Right.
And people would say no one's got time for that, and that would really irritate me. It sounded so dismissive. Now that I pick questions and I have no time, I realize that they were right all along. Yeah. If you can come up with a clever subject or a good first sentence, the chances of your question being picked goes up by 1,000%.
Yeah.
Like
Brevity.
polish that stuff up.
And I should make it clear in this opportunity that the way that we pull questions for love and respect is if you are a $5 or up patron of Easy Allies, you can not only get the podcast early, but you can also submit to love and respect. And so that's a weekly post. Here's an interesting first sentence, just to Ben's point. Hey, Allies. A couple of podcasts ago, Brandon stated that he sees himself and the members of Easy Allies as Big J journalists. I'm a huge fan of sports, and I have recently found out that there is this culture in journalism, especially sports media, while I feel is in a period of transition, of trying to keep themselves professional and neutral. For instance, some journalists complain about other journalists who show emotion to cheer for a team while they are in a press box. Another example is that ESPN, I believe, someone can correct me on this, has a policy of anyone that goes on television is not allowed to wear clothing to show support of their favorite team. This is drastically different than the type of media coverage in the video game industry that have people openly show their bias and let their personalities come out. My question to the panel is, first, what they make of this, and more importantly, is this cultivated culture of being biased hindering the media from critiquing games and while not necessarily abusing, but taking advantage of their power to sway their audiences? Is that okay? Love and respect. Roy Barboza. Jones, you were humming and hawing during that one.
That's a doozy.
It's interesting.
Okay, yeah, I thought so too. It's
Like
tricky.
I'm comfortable with it. Like I have a clear answer, but like there is a lot to unpack there. I mean, the biggest difference is you go to a sports game, you know, it's you got Dodgers versus Cubs, you know, so that's like the reason why we're here is because these two things are going head to head. Whereas like the reason why we're at E3, the reason why we're maybe talking about a Project Scorpio spec reveal event or a Nintendo Direct, you know, and focusing on that, it's like, well, we're just focusing on this one thing so we can show, I don't want to say favoritism, but we can be excited about this, and I can wear my Mario shirt when we're talking about that, because it's like we're just talking about this one specific thing. It's not literally Sony and Microsoft are going to go at this, and we're going to score it, and we're going to know who won definitively when it's over.
Yeah.
So I think that obviously is like seems to be the big difference there.
Ideally, everything would be good. Ideally, every video game that came out would be fantastic,
That's the
and
hope,
we would
yeah.
all be like, "Yeah, video games!" Like that would be great.
Well, I think the idea is ideally, no, we're all non-partial critics.
What fun is that?
To listeners of the podcast, I'm wearing my shirt and tie tonight. I choose not to show any favorites of video games that I love.
Don't believe his lies. He's wearing a Pokemon t-shirt from Target. And a hoodie from Target.
This might be a Target hoodie. This might be one. Ben, do you ever dream of a day when video game journalism can be like that, where everybody's wearing shirts and ties? And maybe not even that, but we're unbiased. We're not fans. We're journalists.
No, because I don't see it as I don't see it black and white in that way, because he's saying that there's professional and then there's just pure bias, and I think selective bias is interesting and important. And what I mean by that is, just for myself, personally speaking, I do absolutely get excited about things. I geek out about things. I was very excited during the Dragon Quest stream last night. And I think you can all point to us about the things that we get excited about, but I think we get excited with reason. We have experience with this. We have some knowledge of it. There's this inherent, what we've seen makes us feel confident that this is going to be good. And like I expressed with the Battlefront trailer, I want to be excited, but we have reason to doubt. It is not just seeing something and taking it at face value. It is seeing something, piecing it together with other information that we have, and then formulating an opinion, either positive or negative. That selective bias, as long as you're clear with the audience, I think is okay. If you're getting excited about everything and not providing reasons for it, that's very, very different. That's not journalism.
What about... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, the thing that's interesting to me about this is that, like, sportscasters or us, you get into this field because you love it, because you're interested in it, and you don't get interested in a thing and not like the thing that you're interested in. Like, I'm not a sports personality because I don't like sports. I don't get them. I don't understand them. But like, sports guy on ESPN has a favorite team because he's into sports. He watches sports. Like, I have games that are my favorites. I have games that I don't like. And I think as long as you're being a genuine person and yourself and not overly cruel for no reason, I don't really see a problem with that.
Yeah, so Jones, here's my theory. I want you to bounce off my theory. I do see people who are biased in sports media, and they are podcasters. You know, like a Bill Simmons podcast. Just gladly, I'll tell you I'm a huge Patriots fan. Things like that. Gross. But I think that's good. And I think it's kind of the nature of the stuff that we make, is that we show up, and it's kind of, we would be unsuccessful if we weren't biased, if we weren't excited about some things and trash on others. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's like, I will admit a bias that I have very clearly. I'm extremely biased towards Rockstar games.
Yes.
Very biased.
Yeah.
I hate Manhunt 1 and 2. I think they're bad games with a bad story and bad narrative and bad gameplay and I don't
Keep
like
going.
them.
This is fun.
I remember like being just astonished, like holding my PS2 controller, being like, I hate this game. Like, I have no interest in playing this game. And they're like, Manhunt 2 comes out. I'm like, maybe they turn it around. Maybe they fame it. You know, I like the Warriors, and maybe they learned some lessons. They're like, no, I just was not interested. And so I think, you know, it's kind of like we're human beings, kind of what you were alluding to, Ian, that like we're naturally going to gravitate towards something.
Right.
But I think in this industry, I think it's important because it's one thing, again, for sports, because look, I was saying earlier, like there will be a clear winner or loser. That like, you know, like I don't know if that person's Patriots love is going to necessarily translate into a win for the Patriots. You know, it's like, oh, I got that guy on my team, so yeah, that's why the Patriots won.
It never will.
So wow, there's a conspiracy here because he said he liked the Patriots and they won today.
Are they paying him?
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Whereas I think we can actually affect positive or negative change from these publishers actually listening to the things that we say.
No, we can't.
And so,
Jones, we can't. Come on.
Sure we can.
Why are we doing a podcast? Why are we recording our opinions and getting them out into the world?
Yeah, there are games that we've played that people
to
are
have
like, I'm
a
gonna play
Microsoft, you know, kind of evaluate. Like, yeah, what does our console mean? How is this being, you know, perceived by the audience? Like,
sure,
wow,
guess.
look at that. The announcement of Resident Evil 7 that we did at the press conference really hit with these Easy Allies guys. Like, doesn't mean they're all gonna play Resident Evil. Doesn't mean like they're all, you know, we're guaranteed a good score with those guys. But like that worked.
You're saying this community of podcasters, not necessarily Easy Allies, is changing how Resident Evil 7 is revealed.
Right.
Potentially.
Jones, don't even make that stretch. Are you about to say Easy Allies changed how Resident Evil 7 was revealed?
No, because
Okay.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
And I don't record these things with that. I really hope we did. But
Yeah.
but who like, just kind of like flipping a coin like a wish into a wishing well. It's like, I can be. There's wishful thinking. So like, I never want to think that like, no, I should totally shut myself off from Rockstar and never talk to them and never have any contact with them. It's like, no, I want to tell them what I thought about these games. Like, I hopefully want to have an impact. Like you booting up a game like Red Dead and playing that through and streaming it and talking about the things that I like and the things that I don't.
But I think that the key difference here between, because we've been talking about bias, and I think more what we have is enthusiasm. Like bias is like, if you were biased, you would play Red Dead Redemption 2, and if it's bad, you would still give it a 5 because you're like, I love Rockstar games. Screw everyone else.
Right.
Like whatever.
Easy
but
Allies
we
is
don't
on a
do that.
5-point scale, by the way. Right.
What?
Just if anybody was confused by that, we're on a 5-point scale.
What did I say?
You give them a 5.
5-star. Yeah.
5 stars, right?
When I hear 5, I'm still thinking out of 10. I gotta
Whatever.
be honest.
But, like,
it took me 3 seconds.
Give them a 5-star. Give them a top rating.
Yeah.
A plus, 100%. Like that's not what you do. You're still capable of saying, like, oh, this is a trashy game. Like, and that's an important distinction. You can be enthusiastic and love something and still be critical about it. I think sometimes, like, look at Damiani. I think you're like more critical of the thing that you love. Like, and that's why I like that people who are fans of a series review that series, because you wouldn't want me to review Grand Theft Auto 6 because like I'm not gonna have as good of a time because they're not my thing.
I do think the other thing that's, when you're talking about covering sports, they're playing a game that has been played largely the same way for an extremely long time.
Mm-hmm.
You can point to very specific things. They did that wrong, or that person, there's sort of this just very hard analytical stance you can take. I would say, while that is true of games to some degree, you can criticize the frame rate. That is a strict analysis. As games have gotten more complex, those sort of cut and dry observations have gone further and further away. As these games are getting more elaborate, they're able to insert more inscrutable elements to them. Like, it's as important to talk about how a game feels, not just from a sense of control, but from a sense of tone. And the ways that you can manipulate that tone are much more subtle. And so there has to be emotion present because that's explicitly what the thing is trying to evoke.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I would answer any question ever thrown at us if
Yeah.
I hadn't been, had some sort of favoritism. I would literally have zero to say on the Final Fantasy franchise as a whole. I would have nothing. I'd be like, yeah okay.
That's a good amount of
They announced
waffles.
15, like, that's cool. It was like, no, I have a lot to say about it. Like, what, the difference is my favorites and, spending all the time with 11 that I did. And
I want to wrap that one up with a point. I think ESPN, you're losing subs. We all know it's in the news. I think you could
Loosen it up.
you can let those sportscasters wear those ties. Somebody wants to wear a little Steelers tie? Absolutely. Just let them. I think if you can inject some enthusiasm, you might win over a younger generation.
All of this said, I came home last night and my roommate Omar was watching the Mets. What team does he like? The Mets?
He loves the Mets.
Yeah. The Mets game, whatever.
He's your roommate.
He's my roommate. What did I say?
No, you're just like, who does he like?
Oh,
It's just like, you should.
I don't know.
that
He's
team
there.
starts with an M.
He's projecting them on the wall and
They're
they're
orange, I
loud, and I
think.
just play the switch. I don't know.
Yeah.
The announcer, commentator, whatever, said this thing that blew my mind. This guy, they were showing a replay of a guy sliding into some base, whatever, and he was sliding with his knees back and his arm behind him. And the commentator said, "I've been seeing this slide a lot this season. I really like its style where they have the hand behind them so that they remain in contact with the base the whole time through the slide." Mm-hmm. And that blew my mind because they've been playing baseball for 3,000 years. And they just invented some new slide, and this commentator is like, "I'm really loving this new slide."
Yeah.
So maybe there is just as much depth and stuff to talk about in sports. It blows my mind.
Oh, there is. There's a lot of...
Blows my
well, the people who are excited about it, though, are the people I think are the most fun to listen to.
He was
Chris
excited.
Conway.
He was very excited
in the
about
biz.
I
it.
wasn't trying to say
No,
that
no,
there
I know
wasn't
you weren't.
depth.
I know you
but,
weren't.
The thing, yeah.
I was saying I was surprised that there is that depth.
The
Sure,
one, the
that's
one thing
good
that
commentary.
the one thing that I will say that we do have a lot in common with sports is that we spend a lot of our time waiting for the thing to happen.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're kind of like, it's us. It's like the hour before every press conference reaction that you're going to see at E3 is like, well, starts in an hour. And there's nothing we can do but just sit
Yeah.
around and just bullshit and
Yeah.
just kind of talk about, we think maybe they're going to announce this, but I don't know, you know.
The best podcast headline you can make is "Who will win E3?"
Yeah.
It's that. It's
Yeah.
You said
Also,
we're not
like-
facing off, but we're totally
No.
facing off, and that's how
You
you make
can
a
ask,
narrative.
it does, I don't care what
Oh, I
the
know,
odds
Ben, yeah.
are. I don't care
I mean,
how
for
the
clicks.
numbers factor in.
No.
You ask any fan, like, who's going to win this game? You have no idea. You don't know. The guy could get injured 5 seconds into it. First guy could walk out and go to the, okay, I'm going to hit this ball and hit a thing in the temple and he's dead. And you're like, oh, like there's so many amazing things could happen in a sports game that it's like, there's just so much speculation beforehand.
Yeah.
And I think we're very similar in that regard.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what the Xbox Scorpio is going to be called. No idea.
It's fun.
The Xbox Wonder.
There is just one more thing I want to say.
Please.
When we talk about this and we talk about how we approach things and how we view ourselves and what we're saying, I don't want it to ever seem like, well, yeah, we figured it out and this is what we're doing. I don't feel that way at all, and I think that's what makes this job so exciting is when I'm thinking about E3 2017, I'm thinking, I don't want it to be like E3 2016. I don't want it to be like E3 2015. I want to approach it from a new way. As these things are changing, I want to change too and to talk about it differently. So I don't think it's just, yep, we're going to react in the exact same way every single time, and I wouldn't want us to, and I wouldn't want the audience to expect us to.
Yeah. And we wear shirts and ties for E3.
Sometimes.
We do. I'm
Most of us.
excited to put on that suit.
Yeah. Feels good. All
wonder-
right. Let's do one more.
Yeah. I was just gonna say this might be an American sports problem
Yeah.
because like some of those soccer announcers they scream the word goal for like 6 straight minutes.
There's some enthusiasm
It's
there.
amazing.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
so happy about it.
Hey, allies. There's been some talk. No more sports, so we're over it. We're through it.
No.
What?
Soccer just seems so exciting. I see it on TV sometimes, and I don't know
They make
anything
it
about
seem
it.
really
And it
exciting.
just seems like the most exciting thing. Everybody's just screaming. It's
Yeah.
the most exciting sports. It seems
Well,
like.
And then it's a 1-to-1 draw.
Yeah.
Go home, everybody.
that's
We
the
got to
thing.
draw.
I think is it in The Simpsons or is
All
it in
right.
something?
That was a
where-
Simpsons joke. That was
where they,
so good.
Where they
That's
like
fair.
pan through all
That's
the
fair.
countries
That's
doing
fair.
the different announcer, and like it's like the British guys are like, and he has the ball, and he holds it, and he holds it,
the
and then the
ball.
other guy's like, he's got the ball, and he holds it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yep,
Yeah.
it's all how you spin it.
But hey, if you like that, that's cool that you like that. We're not making fun of you for liking that.
No,
I
we don't
think
make fun of
I
anybody
think
for
it really
liking
does seem
anything,
exciting.
Yeah.
except for Huber for liking The Walking Dead.
Hey, allies. There's been some talk about the 3D platforming genre making a comeback lately. Not least due to the successful Kickstarter campaign of Yooka-Laylee, as well as dozens of indie games that try to capture the magic from the good old days of Spyro the Dragon, Banjo-Kazooie, or Jak and Daxter. Now that some of these games have actually been released, the sentiment surrounding the genre appears to be less enthusiastic. They are often marred by technical and design issues, but going by the reviews, it also seems like the core mechanics of the traditional 3D platformer on their own do not hold up well in our modern gaming world, at least not without a heavy dose of nostalgia. What kind of innovations do you think the genre needs to become relevant again? New movement mechanics in the vein of Snake Pass, a blend of genres, setting the narratives different from the usual talking animals and kidnapped princesses? Would current Mario games be successful without their IP and legacy? And is Assassin's Creed a modern 3D platformer? I would appreciate your insightful insights. Love and respect, Stellaire.
Cool question.
It is a cool question. So you see it a lot in the reviews for Yooka-Laylee. I don't think it's entirely why it reviewed poorly. I'm going to say it reviewed poorly. Saying it's old. It feels old. Mm-hmm. And basically the idea is if you just make a 3D platformer like the ones we had on the Nintendo 64, if you just do that again today, it's not enough.
Yeah.
And so the question is basically, what would it need to be for it to feel modern?
Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Open air? An open air 3D platformer?
That's the thing is like, make it interesting, because to me, Mario 64 felt really cool because you could go and explore and be rewarded for exploration, and there were like new. I mean, yeah, it was like the first 3D platformer like that, and we were all blown away. But like, making it feel worthwhile to go on these places and jump over these platforms and stuff. If it's just levels and you're jumping and trying to get to a thing at the end, I mean, I haven't played Yooka-Laylee, but like,
that's it.
As an example, you know, like if it just feels like jumping through the motions to get to the ending or whatever, that's not interesting. And no matter how many different coats of paint or new talking animals you put in it, it's not going to be good enough.
Sure.
Whereas like Breath of the Wild, I know it's an RPG and not a 3D platformer, but like there's 3D platforming in it more or less, and like I love just walking around. Like I was dicking around for 3 hours trying to find hightail lizards, and I was like having a blast. It was a great time.
I'm actually gonna go out on a limb here and say that the case for Yooka-Laylee is like pretty complex and not this sort of like we need to reevaluate this whole entire genre thing that's being painted here, because unlike Mighty Number 9, which I think now that I could say with the value of hindsight and seeing the whole thing pan out, that was just the response to that was, this is bad, just very vicious. What you're getting from Yooka-Laylee is, this is outdated or this is kind of disappointing. That's a different response.
Yeah.
And I do think what Yooka-Laylee was trying to accomplish is a very different thing. It was trying to appease a very specific group of people that wanted a very, very specific, long absent thing. And for as much negativity as you're seeing from reviews, I am seeing a lot of voices that are like, no, I love this. This is what I wanted. And so I think it's a very mixed message where you have a group of people that want a great 3D platform that feels modern. You're seeing people that want Banjo-Kazooie 3. You're seeing just a bunch of stuff. You're seeing people that want kind of like a Shovel Knight with that style. And so I have to wonder if the people that supported Yooka-Laylee the most feverishly, if they're happy, does that matter more than anything else? Like, will it weirdly maybe kind of be considered a success?
Sure. My answer to you would probably be no.
Why?
I think you need success outside of that for the genre to succeed. For it to prove that, hey, 3D platformers can exist today.
But is it trying to prove the genre success, or is it just trying to make those people happy with the spiritual successor?
It depends on how much Yooka-Laylee costs.
Like, I don't think the future of 3D platformers is riding on Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to get across.
Yeah. Because I think that it's a weird question, Ben, because I always pin it back to us being on Patreon. Mm-hmm. If we just make the 6,000 people who are patrons of Easy Allies happy, are we doing our job? And I think we generally nod and say yes. We don't need more than that. We just need to service those people who pay for us.
We'd like more than that. That's fine.
We'd like to grow.
That'd be great. Yeah. We don't need it necessarily.
But can we grow just making those 6,000 people happy, or do we have to do stuff more outside of them? And I think the answer is the second thing. Mm-hmm. And so, I think you can't be entirely successful just making the people on Kickstarter happy. I want to say, first off, that I don't think that the problem with Yooka-Laylee, the reason why it reviewed poorly, is entirely outdatedness. If it is a mirror copy of Banjo-Kazooie and is as cool and fun as Banjo-Kazooie and with the level design that Banjo-Kazooie had and things like that, I think it could have reviewed better. I think that it's not a direct copy. I think it's a slightly worse Banjo-Kazooie. But, as Ben just said, I think a lot of people they're fine. I'd gladly have a slightly worse Banjo-Kazooie, please.
Right.
Yeah.
Jones, is it a dead genre though? It's just never coming back? 3D platformer. Like, let's answer that last question first. Is Assassin's Creed a 3D platformer? Is that what the modern take is?
I would be curious, kind of like birds turned into dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. I would be curious if the open area 3D platformer turned into the open world game. That's kind of like the genre that, like, in the 64 PlayStation 1 era, it was this whole concept of, like, you had Bubsy in one corner and Mario in the other, and they just did it right and Bubsy did it wrong. But they were all just like, how do we do this? How do you move?
Yeah.
How do you turn? How do you have momentum? How far should you jump? If you see somewhere you can get, like, how do I tell you how to get there?
Yeah.
And kind of steer you in one direction. And like, that's why 64 is so great, because you like Mario 64, because you walk into a zone like knowing like I got to get to the top of that thing because that was the name of the star when I jumped in. So like you have like a goal, you have an objective. And I think a lot of these fears and a lot of these big insurmountable hurdles that they had with the technology at the time, we're now past those. Like, we're now able to go on and take that model and make a Liberty City and make a, the world in Red Dead or even like, even something like a Pokemon, like have that evolve and take lessons, from these games that just kind of threw you out into this big wide open environment. So for me, looking at something like Yooka-Laylee, it's not enough for me to just kind of walk into a zone and be like, I'm just gonna run over there. It's kind of like, no, I need this world to make sense somehow. Like, I don't like,
sure.
I don't want to walk into a zone and it's just like ice.
Kind of like how
fun.
Ian started
like,
this. Yeah.
Yeah, but why ice? Who owned this? Why am I here? Like, who? So I think the more you take that stuff away and just try to like, we'll just give you fun new abilities, and then that will make you want to just run around this world. Keep in mind, like Ben was saying, like there are people that are like, that's what I wanted. Like, I'm completely fine with this. But I think maybe like that mass audience, that's kind of what they're looking at here with Yooka-Laylee and wondering like, there should be more here, because I'm used to that with a lot of the other games that I've
I want to go back to something Ian brought up, actually, with Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight isn't an NES game. Sorry, was that Ben who brought up Shovel Knight?
He mentioned Shovel Knight.
Oh, okay.
Whatever.
People will play Shovel Knight and they're just like, yeah, this is exactly like an NES game. It's not. It's very advanced.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so Shovel Knight actually incorporates a lot of, I think, modern gaming ideas and concepts that we're used to, and incorporates them into an SNES style. And I think that is what, honestly, a new platform
This is what I was about to say, was that Yooka-Laylee, just Yooka-Laylee specifically, and again, I have not played it, but I really like the way it looks. I like the visuals, but from inception, it seems kind of like a very targeted niche. We just wanted to make Banjo-Kazooie, but couldn't get the rights, so we're making Banjo-Kazooie, and it's literally Banjo-Kazooie, just with different animals, and even the title is basically Banjo-Kazooie. And like, to me, that's like, hey, that's great if you're laser focusing on an audience that's paying you directly to make it, and that's all you want to do, and you don't expect it to be bigger than that. Because if you're not iterating or thinking of new stuff, and again, maybe they did, I don't know, but from the response, maybe they didn't. But Shovel Knight takes that sort of thing of those older retro games and that style, and then makes it modern, iterates, comes to the table with brand new ideas that are interesting and valuable, and they shake things up in cool ways. That's how you do that. You don't just do the same thing over again with different paint and say, hey, we did the thing you loved.
Yeah.
Because like the thing you loved was 15 years ago, and things weren't as good then as they are now, like technologically and whatever. Like, we've evolved. You need to evolve too.
Regarding the future of 3D platformers, just Super Mario Odyssey, like let's let that come out.
Oh yeah,
let's let that come out.
Yeah, the idea that,
and then we'll talk.
real quick, Ben, the idea that would Mario games be as successful without the IP? Like, they'd still be good games.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's so easy to do that when you see the massive success of one of these things. It's like, yes, people know Mario, people love Mario. People know and love Mario because most of them are really incredible games.
Some of them are bad though.
Some of them are bad,
like
absolutely.
New Super Mario Bros. Wii, I think if it wasn't Mario, people
Sure.
would have been like, this is the worst.
No, they wouldn't say this is the worst. People would still love that
If
game.
they
Yeah.
played it multiplayer, they'd say this is the worst. But that game is awful trash.
But what I'm
if
saying
you're
is,
talking about
like,
that.
I
Huber,
think
they
you
love
could
it.
remove a lot of the Mario-isms in Super Mario Galaxy, and that would still be just
Mario Galaxy is a
outstanding.
beautiful game.
The
It
other
doesn't need to
thing
be Mario. Yeah.
that I want to bring up, I think when you kind of saw the rise of the indie games early last generation, a lot of the narrative that you saw, and I keep like thinking about Super Meat Boy, for instance, when you hear those people talk, we're making this because these are the games that we grew up with. These are the games that we want to play. As those independent developers get older, and as that target kind of reaches that 3D platformer era, and since I think it's getting easier to make 3D games, you have the proliferation of Unity and all that stuff. I think you're going to see the indie scene. It's already happening. We brought up Snake Pass, right?
Yes.
Which is not, that studio doesn't quite fit what I'm talking about. But
Sumo Digital, they're used to making some AAA stuff.
Yeah, that doesn't quite work. But I do think the point still stands that the indie scene will probably continue that genre on in a way that you want it to. I have hope that it will do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just thinking of all these. There are a lot of itch.io games that are super crazy little 3D things that are way outside the box, and I love them. Yeah, for sure.
3D development is hard.
It is hard.
Yeah, just as Jones kind of brought up, like, how do I communicate this?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so much extra stuff.
Yeah, thoughtful game design is easy to take for granted. Because, oh man, Mario 64, Zelda Breath of the Wild, like, these games are genius when it comes to directing your attention. And it's so easy to just take that for granted. Oh man. Oh, good games are so good.
It's a bunch of honey. It is now time for bets. This week's bet is actually
Is there a game right there?
what? What do you see?
Nothing.
Oh, Ian, there's no time for the game.
Yeah, there's
My
no
phone's
time.
dead. We got to move on.
All right.
We're not doing a game.
All right.
Ian peeked on my sheet.
I saw a
game. It was like, let's play.
I just want. It's 1 o'clock in the
remember it's
morning.
1 o'clock in the
I'm
morning.
going to be a good podcast
remember it's 1
moderator. We're
o'clock in
moving
the
forward.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
about a game, Kyle.
Yeah.
Tell you about a game.
What?
It's called Running Around Los Angeles, cleaning up those bets after you forgot to lock them in.
Woo! I was there with you. I mean, thank you for the help, Jones, but like, you don't have to be sassy about it now.
All right.
So what happened was
I
last
just got
week.
a lot of
I
responsibilities
forgot to
here,
lock in
Easy
the bets
Allies.
last week, and Jones and I had to go hunting again.
Yeah, good. Chase them all day.
The thing is, like, the first 3 bets we found pretty fast. And then
But
there's
it's
just
just
the
like
last
it's just
bet.
like a 3D platformer, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter until you get all 4.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So so you're checking online, you're checking the strategy. Okay, well I got 3, but are those the 3 I got? I don't know.
And,
You said the
and
one
let's
was under a
face it,
tree.
like,
I bet they're all under a tree.
LA
What?
doesn't have great level design.
LA
So,
has
like,
bad level
yeah,
design.
so like
Yeah.
sometimes
Some of
it
the
doesn't,
worst.
It doesn't
Yeah.
direct your eye to where your goal is.
I will make sure to lock in the bets. Please remind me if you can. I have a patron submitted bet this week.
Oh.
This was just within love and respect. It was like, hey, you should make a bet about this. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'll just make that the bet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that Sorry, never mind.
No, I actually like it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was
Sarcasm.
it was
Oh.
see, he's good. Jones is
Yeah.
good at these
That's
things.
good.
Yeah.
These things.
These things. These things.
I feel like Ben's got a character bit right there. Okay, please don't. You know, I hate to take submissions for bets, but it was genuinely better than the bet I came up with, so I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Okay, Nintendo Direct tomorrow, after the day of recording, and shortly after this podcast comes live to our patrons.
Within
Yeah,
hours
today,
of us completing this recording.
Yeah.
happening. It's mostly gonna be focused on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and ARMS. What will the release date for ARMS be? And by the way,
Splatoon 2, right?
oh, Splatoon 2 actually. Mario Kart 8.
Don't
What?
forget that.
So
Yeah.
Don't
I was like,
text
don't
Splatoon
you
2.
forget
I said that
that.
wrong. Yeah.
Don't you forget
It's actually
Splatoon 2.
focusing on Splatoon 2 and ARMS. I think Mario Kart 8 will be there, but more of an afterthought. Anyway, that comes to us from Charles Anthony Iapicino.
Wait, say what the
Iapicino.
actual bet
Yeah?
is again?
Ia Pacino, I would guess.
Iapicino. I like Iapicino.
Iapicino.
Iapicino, yeah. What will the release date for ARMS be? Jones, go ahead.
May 14th.
I will not stand for a date that is after May 16th.
Ooh.
I said May 19th because it's a Friday.
Oh my
That was a
Are you
shitty
going
goodness.
to
way of
stand for
doing
it?
that.
Are you standing for it, Ben?
No.
I did
Will not
May
stand.
21st.
Oh.
Because it's a Tuesday? Or
I
a
meant to do a Thursday, so one of us messed up. Let me lock those
Pretty
in.
sure that's
Yeah.
a Friday. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that I remembered wrong. I went to the calendar and then I got distracted with other stuff for the podcast, and then I wrote down my bet. I think I got that right.
We got them bookended, though. If it's
Okay.
early or late in the month, we're set.
You're right. What do we do if it's 0? What if we don't know? Oh, I guess we assume it's a late one. Yeah.
It's the latest one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll take that. Okay,
And I
let's
guess
talk
Kyle
about
wins.
What if they shadow drop it? That'd be great.
shadow dropping ARMS. Okay, so let's talk about
Shadow drop.
That's an interesting thing.
last week's bet. Not possible, by the way.
Yeah, probably not.
That's a big one. ARMS is a big
It's a
one.
fun thought experiment.
It's a fun thought experiment. You love a good shadow drop.
Yeah, I wouldn't shadow drop ARMS. Too big of a deal. You really, really want to promote it. You want it to be known as a big deal for Switch.
Oh, wait, hang on.
They're for sure shadow dropping it tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%. And Silent Hills is going to come out.
What sucks? Well,
the
you'll
Switch.
you'll be two little geniuses
can
because
you
this
imagine?
podcast goes up afterward, and people are gonna be like, "Wow, they were right."
Can you,
Kyle's a real a-hole.
That'd be so funny.
ARMS is such a big deal to us. That's why we're giving it to you now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
last week's bet
Check your Switch.
was about
You've
ukulele.
already got it.
Downloaded it this morning while
You
you
know
were
what?
sleeping.
Just in case I don't get final word, I want to say I was really harsh on ukulele. I don't want to be. I feel like I was vibing hard on it, and I feel
felt
bad about it.
bad.
Yeah.
I felt a little bad.
I don't think you were. I think it was fair.
Yeah, because I want to wear my shirt and tie, and I want to say it reviewed poorly. I want to be honest about things like that. Yeah.
I don't no.
Okay.
Stand your ground.
All right. It released on Tuesday, which is today. Currently, as of last week, the ukulele rap was at 272,499 views on YouTube, and that was posted on April 1st. How many views will that have today? Jones, you bet 284,000. Bloodworth bet 400,000. Huber bet 300,001, and I bet 319,272. Jones is currently looking up the current number of views.
The ukulele rap on the Platonic Games channel.
It absolutely is.
333,000.
That's a win for Mr. Bossman, baby. What? Did you want that?
No, it's just another win.
Oh, okay. What a reaction, man.
Wow.
Be happy for me, please.
I'm stoked.
Are you stoked?
He's not
He's
stoked.
not
By the
stoked.
way.
Tell me you're stoked.
I'm not stoked.
I'm not stoked for the platypi. Is what I'm saying. You know,
starting to feel bad for the platypi?
You feeling bad for
just
us?
a little bit. Just a little bit.
Hey,
it might
man.
be the fatigue. It might be because it's 1 a.m.
We have a rich inner life. We don't need these points.
Do you know what's nice about being the purple platypi though? We got a good excuse built in.
Yeah.
We're platypi.
Yeah, we're like this bizarre ass animal.
Oh gosh, this is the whole thing. I want to explain the challenge of Nephthys because I got so many comments about it. You know, I hate to explain things like this, but there were so many people who were
gosh.
confused by the challenge of Nephthys.
Everyone is always confused by everything.
But so
All the
I'm
games
trying
that
to
you come
grow,
up with.
I'm trying to learn, and so I'm explaining challenge of Nephthys. So Nephthys is an Egyptian goddess of death, service, lamentation,
Lamentation,
nighttime, and rivers.
Yeah, we all knew that.
That's a good collection of things we all put on here. In both instances of the challenge of Nephthys, the right thing to do for me as the podcast moderator was to give a point to the Red Eagles because of some dumb screw up I made. But I refuse to just hand over points to anybody. So
Wait, to your own team?
no, to your team.
You said Red Eagle.
I did. It should be Purple Platypi.
Platypus.
Thank you
Yeah.
for the
I was confused there.
correction there.
Lock it in.
So I called upon the ancient trials of this Egyptian goddess, the challenge of Nephthys, to present an obstacle worthy enough of a single point of the Easy Odds podcast. It's only been done twice. We did only twice.
Right.
Probably won't happen again. Please don't be confused. It was just a silly thing. We do silly things on the podcast.
What the hell happened?
Oh boy. So, the one time Damiani, he had the like potato, which was a failed concept, and so he did the challenge of Nephthys to get that point back. We took away the point because of the like potato, and then he had to do the challenge of Nephthys.
Oh, okay.
He bravely succeeded in that.
What was the challenge of Nephthys?
Oh, it's a series of riddles.
It has to
Oh.
be. Yeah, it has
Yeah.
to be experienced to be believed.
Is it like the... Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to.
I guarantee it's not like that.
The beginning of the end, the
Nope.
middle of the beginning.
we don't know.
No, much harder. It's really intense. There was a comment that I really liked from Connor Leary who says, the challenge of Nephthys is actually a test of bravery. The test itself is simple, but the fact that the test taker has to agree before understanding what it is, in the face of intimidation, tests their resolve to win a point for their team, no matter what the struggle. Connor just gets it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Connor, for
That
just
is
understanding.
Well
that is a
done.
good, well-written comment.
Yeah, that is exactly.
that.
That's what the challenge of Nephthys is. Anyway, we're at Purple Platypi 4.
Oh, I forgot.
no.
That's the worst yet.
How come?
Red Eagles 10.
I think it is impossible to
Those platypi are
remember
getting sicker
what
and
a
sicker
platypus
each week.
sounds like.
You got a standard-ass animal.
Yeah, come on. Sitting over
You got a
here
cool
in their
animal
throne rooms being
wearing
like, why can't you make that
sunglasses.
sound? Come on,
We got
man.
some kind of genetic monster
I think Brad's the only one that can do it.
laying in the muck.
Ian, how'd you do on your goal this week?
I did great. I snuck a reference in there, and I don't think anybody noticed.
Oh, I didn't. Which one was it?
I said, we got to get out of here before somebody kills Guy.
And that's a reference to.
I did it after his pathetic "arr."
Oh, okay.
Okay, I wouldn't know. That one's a little deep.
I did
for
it
me.
as like a joke
Yeah.
to like, here's a bad way to do this.
Yeah.
But then it worked out, so I got it in.
I honestly wouldn't know one if I heard one. It's like my thing is coming off. My My little rubber thing is coming off. That's my
The show
Galaxy
must
Quest.
go on.
Oh, there you go.
The show
I like
must
that.
go on.
Yeah. Ben, how'd you do on your goal?
It's a stupid job, but I'm gonna do it.
I did it, but I think it was pretty bad. I gotta get better at these goals.
What was your
Not very
goal
good at
again?
them. Saying I will not stand for this in a sincere way.
Oh.
It was not.
Was it sincere?
That was not as sincere as it could be. I gotta be better.
Brandon Jones, how'd you do on your goal?
I did. I got one in there. I got one and then got shut down. I had to do another one later.
Your other
The other one was better.
You know what makes it good, Jones, is because you like lean back and you're like and then you like slide it in. Like I wouldn't want to be in a gunfight with you, dude, because you're like I'm not gonna shoot.
We've been
That is
in a
what you did
gunfight
with
with
it.
him, and he's good at that.
Not bad
right.
with a pistol. I did not create a successful new character.
I think you did.
I think you did.
I think that
Yeah.
people.
What was his
I was
name?
inspired.
Bellamy Newsman?
Bellamy
Yeah.
Newsman.
I think Bellamy Newsman is dead.
He's
I don't
a
know.
gem.
No, Bellamy Newsman will live on in the
It's
hearts of many.
fantastic. The
Okay.
way that Bellamy said "sweet justice" was fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's Jones's character now.
Yeah.
You
Well, thank
created it
You
though.
created it.
That was the goal. I would say almost most characters that are created are then performed by someone else.
I think that might.
Almost all.
I think that
actually.
might be the best character you've created.
Yeah. Quit now. You've done it.
Like, my name is Edgar Strummond. I created Austin Powers.
Hi, I'm Kyle Bossman. I created Bellamy Newsman. Creator of Bellamy Newsman. Yeah, it just came to me during a podcast. We're losing our damn minds.
Kids in middle school are doing Bellamy Newsman lines.
And you want to be able to go to a party and have people be talking about Bellamy Newsman, and you're just in the back there
Yeah,
just sipping
and
your
not
drink.
know.
Like,
Yeah.
That you did it.
The whole thing was just an accident.
I created Ace Ventura.
wow.
Okay, all right. So let's just end this podcast. It's
up to you, Kyle.
We don't need to plug Easy Allies too much. We kind of did throughout the entire podcast. EasyAllies.com is a cool place to go and if you want to see our schedule
Easy Allies
in your
is
time
great.
zone.
Check it out.
Yeah, patreon.com/EasyAllies if you would like to support us. Okay, so because I won the bet this week, I have the right and responsibility to share my Twitter handle. I get to promote any Easy Allies video I would like. I get to have the final word on anything I want to reiterate or I've disagreed with throughout the course of this podcast, and I get to sign off with my trademark sign-off. Oh, Jones, you're right. We'll add that to the end. That's going to be a bonus bit at the end of this podcast.
Awesome.
So, I lost a bet to Jones. Oh, I wanted to go on a whole rant about this, too. Dang.
Do it.
No.
It's
Let's not go nuts.
already too late.
Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series, had a bad reveal trailer, but it did lock in, confirm officially that I lost the bet to Jones. I said that Telltale game would have a different cast of Guardians of the Galaxy. Jones said, no way, obviously it's the movie cast.
Yeah.
He was right. It is just simply the movie cast. To my
Is
credit,
it grown-up Groot or baby Groot?
Grown-up Groot. But it's just the thing is, like, in the comics, the Guardians of the Galaxy is, like, so inconsistent. There's so many different permutations of that group. I thought there was no way it's going to be strictly the movie. It's, like, strictly the movie.
MCU, baby.
And those jokes, dude, and I don't know if it's a bad trailer or if it's simply, like, an unfunny game. But boy, oh boy, am I not happy with that reveal. Jones is incredibly happy. So what I had to do is make page 14 of a pretend made-up imaginary Guardians of the Galaxy comic.
Oh my God.
Jones is going to read it off and describe it to listeners, and viewers will get an even more special treat.
After Kyle wraps up this podcast.
After we wrap up the podcast, it will be a little bonus bit we tack on at the end.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. I'm at Kyle Bossman on Twitter. My video that I would like to promote from Easy Allies this week. What do we got? We have a new series. Let's do your thing, Ian.
Oh.
Let's do it. I'm gonna hand my promo to you. We have a new series.
Oh, I get to do it?
Yeah, please.
Oh wow. Okay. What day does this go up?
It goes up today.
Oh,
Wednesday,
all right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this might beat it to the punch, but we are starting a movie podcast, which I believe at this time, this might change, but is called Reaction Shots, the Easy Allies movie podcast.
It's not too. If you hate the title,
It's not too late.
Just let us know.
My other idea was Enthusiasm, the Easy Allies movie podcast.
You know which one I prefer.
I know, but it doesn't make... The thing is, I want it to be movie-related to draw in people who don't already know what Easy Allies means.
Okay.
Like who Easy Allies are.
And Reaction Shots is particular to
Reaction
movies.
Shots is a very particular movie thing,
Okay,
but
I get
also because we have done some popular reactions to things,
Yeah.
I thought that was also appropriate. Also, like, every film term is taken for names of podcasts.
Yes.
All of them.
Yeah.
Every single one.
A year from now, someone's going to want to create a
Wanna
movie
do
podcast called Reaction Shots. Be like,
and it's going to be gone.
But not enthusiation.
Not enthusiasm.
taken.
Yep.
So, I mean, maybe I'll change it, but tweet at Ben Moore. Tweet at me and tell me if you like it or not.
what kind of-
I'm going to put a vote.
Insta-block.
I'm going to put a vote on Patreon tonight, I think.
So what is this? Like you just talk about like comic book movies? Is that what?
No, we actually, that's the other thing is because we were going to do the easy viewing or like the Easy A podcast or easy whatever. It's not really going to be easy. It's going to be pretty heady. It's going to be very in-depth, actual thoughtful discussion about movies based on various themes. The first theme of the first episode is The World Speaks. It's about world building and ambient storytelling and lore and that kind of stuff in film. And then at the end of every movie, or at the end of every podcast, we will give you a new assignment of a movie to watch that month. It's a monthly podcast. And the movie will always fit with the current subject. So the one for this month will fit with The World Speaks, and then it'll lead into the next subject, which will be magical realism.
Magical realism.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
This is it's a show for I think film lovers so
Yeah.
much so that I feel like I shouldn't watch it.
You must watch it.
If you're just to educate myself.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
And it's a discussion because at the $7 and up tier, there's the Easy Allies Film Club, and you get to be part of the discussion topics. I posted like I was pretty proud of it. I wrote it up. It's like a thoughtful kind of collegiate sort of discussion topic, and people were giving really good responses. It's really cool.
Yeah. I almost wish we went as in depth with our video game discussions. You know what I mean?
I think we go pretty in depth.
Yeah, but we don't have like this really classy podcast where like, okay, today's theme is, you know what I mean?
yeah,
We don't
yeah.
have anything like that. It's
Give
cool.
it a shot. We'll see how tired I get.
Final word. I want to. I feel like I was flippant about the Project Scorpio specs. And that's simply because I don't get it. It's because I don't care. I'm not saying it's wrong to care. And I think it is impressive hardware to the people who do care, and that means something to me. And so basically that's why I kind of like Digital Foundry announcing it instead of Easy Allies. We would have been the wrong choice. So for that particular thing, right? And so seeing those people react to it, I think was really the right call. And sorry to everyone who's frustrated by how much I don't care about specs and numbers. You can only care about the things you care about.
That's great.
And that's your tagline, right? Isn't that your...
Oh, no.
Oh,
his
it
tagline-
should
You can
be.
only care about the things you care about.
Honestly, that's like, it is kind of like my motto. However, my official motto is, tomorrow is forever all ours.
I am enjoying these microtransactions.
I've done it! I've captured all 4 of the Guardians of the Galaxy!
But, Drax, don't! But, don't! I see. Madame Eyeballista has one weakness. I will use this to my advantage later. Hey, does it look like Drax is planning something? Bwonk!
I thought I told you! Beep! I came prepared!
Gah!
I have super awareness, you fools!
I am Groot.
Who said that?